You're looking at the 2019 Infiniti QX50, enjoying a day at the beach in Southern California. Now, this vehicle began its life as the EX35, and then around 2014, Nissan began designating its SUVs and CUVs with the QX. And since then, this QX50 has basically remained the same. Very few changes. And that's not a good thing for a company that I've said before is trying to find that sweet spot with you, the consumer, as Lexus has done so successfully. So yes, there's a lot of pressure on this QX50 to succeed where it counts most. That's in the showroom.
It's hugely important for us here in Canada. The mid-size luxury SUV segment is the fastest growing in Canada. We've got a great product in there right now, but it's a little aged and a little dated. The new product that we're bringing to market is really going to allow us to grow. We think it's quickly going to become our best-selling model in the lineup and really brings a new face of Infiniti to Canadians.
The premium compact SUV market or crossover market is on fire right now, and the QX50 is aimed right at the heart of the market. The interior is to die for. It drives very nicely, great suspension, it handles very nicely, and it's got their new steer-by-wire steering system, which at first sounds a little intimidating, but it actually does work very well.
You know, I'm a car guy, but I got to admit to being a little frustrated over the past several years. We come to these car launches, they have a technical meeting, and they spend most of the time talking about connectivity, staying connected with the rest of the world, and why this vehicle drives better than its predecessor. Well, hallelujah, at last night's tech meeting for the QX50, yes, the car has all that connectivity, but they spent most of the night talking about the new engine and why it's a world's first. The old engine, a 3.7 V6. The new one, a 2-liter, 4-cylinder VC turbo. And the VC stands for, and don't let your eyes glaze over here, but it stands for variable compression.
In very, very simple terms, the variable compression turbo engine is almost like having two engines in one. On the one hand, you've got low compression and a turbocharger which gives you power and performance. At the other end, you've got a high compression ratio and very little turbo action, which is very good for fuel efficiency. They were saying that if you compare the outgoing 3.7-litre V6 to this new variable compression engine, there's a 30% improvement in fuel economy. That in a nutshell is why they're heading towards variable compression with turbocharging.
From a styling perspective, the QX50 has all of the key family styling identities for Infiniti. So it's got our crescent cut D-pillar, our full-wave hood, as well as the double arch grille. Because of the CVT, if you really get into the gas, it tends to get a little noisy. It was like BMW went from their beautiful inline six to a 4-cylinder turbo that sounds like you got a bag of hammers under the hood. I think they'll sell all they can bring in. I think some will be a little turned off sometimes by the sound of the engine, but if you can get past that, and after all, when you're driving around town, it's a non-issue. It's only when you get turned loose in California and are honking down a canyon road that the engine starts to make noise. The rest of the time, it's just fine. The Canadian luxury market has gone from about 60% cars 10 years ago to upwards of 62% SUVs. In Canada last year, actually, Infiniti had 71% of its volume coming from the SUV portfolio. And with the new QX50, at least doubling our volume, that's even going to grow.
How old are you, and are you still a car guy or are you an SUV guy, you know?
To be honest, I still drive a Q50. I love the power and the speed. But on weekends, when I want to throw the hockey gear in or get the snowboard on, an SUV is useful, and I'm 36.
Well, as Graham said, the interior of this QX50 is simply to die for. Hand stitching everywhere. It's really nice. And of course, it's got, as you might expect, all the active safety features that you have on today's cars. They call it Pro Pilot Assist. Basically, it's semi-autonomous driving with the emphasis on semi. You don't take your hands off the wheel and you certainly don't close your eyes, and it's going to be like that for a long, long time. The bottom line, I like this vehicle. Would like a little more grunt out of the engine, but unlike the previous model, I would recommend you put this QX50, if you're in the market for a premium vehicle, on your shopping list. That's it for now. We'll see you next time out as we continue to bring you more stories about cars and the people who drive them.